this investigation as parliamentarians we are doing to every witness who appeared before us. We are not undermining you. But remember, we are probing. We want to know the truth. You know, we are not a subsidiary to a Nhlanhla Commission. We are a stand-up committee, as Ad Hoc Committee here. We need to take this to Parliament, which is an ultimate in this country. We are lawmakers. And we heard you, you know, your statement is before us, you know, but hence we want to have a bite on it, to know the truth. There's no ulterior motives against you or anyone or any other witness here. We don't have a hidden agenda. We just want the truth. But if we can't now have the names, it's fine. You must just say that you are not willing. Perhaps we'll adjourn as a committee and take a decision. How are we going to go forward? You know, with you as a witness. But with due respect, there's nothing against you as a person. We just read your statement, and your statement speaks for itself. Thank you, Chair.
Do we still have any member from the MKP who wants to?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. Chair, we've been partly covered by what Honorable Skosana has said. But Chair, what we have noted here is the highest level of arrogance of high note. And there is an attempt to reduce the credibility of this committee as if we're a subordinate of a certain commission of inquiry.
Chair, apologies, Honorable Mkhwanazi. Chair, can you again talk to the witness to stop making gestures when members are submitting point?
Listen, let's allow Honorable Mkhwanazi to conclude. We will come back to you to make that point.
Chair, the first witness that appeared before this committee is General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. He mentioned the name of a witness before us in his affidavit under oath. And even when he was here, he elaborated on why he mentioned her name. The name was also mentioned by the Minister of Police, Minister Senzo Mkhunu, under oath, openly so. And she comes here, she's not a police officer. She has no right to protect informants because it's only police officers with that right to protect informants. She's just an ordinary person with passion of having views on police work. We respect that. But she must not come here and undermine Parliament. This is Parliament, and this is a committee that has been tasked. We're not just doing a normal oversight responsibility here. We're doing an investigation. This is not a portfolio committee. It's an ad hoc committee with specific terms of reference. And at the center of those terms of reference is conducting an investigation on issues that are affecting SAPS. And she comes here, she tells us about investigators, qualified investigators, who are going to investigate issues in the Nhlanhla Commission. As if here, by virtue of being members of Parliament, we are not qualified to listen to what those investigators can listen to. So what I see here, Chair, is the highest level of arrogance and lack of cooperation. The witness cannot choose what she can tell us. It was going to be understandable if she was saying, Chair, I am not comfortable with disclosing names here on camera. Can we disclose them when cameras have been switched off? That will be understanding. Now saying, ridiculing the credibility of this committee by saying no, because I'm still here to appear in the Nhlanhla Commission. What is that? Nhlanhla Commission is not bigger than Parliament. It's an executive decision through the President of South Africa. This committee, the Ad Hoc Committee, is a decision of Parliament. So, Chair, can we not be undermined here, please? Can we not be undermined? There are three options that we have correctly put here. It's either she gives us names here. If she doesn't, off camera. And if she doesn't want to give us names at all, she must not adduce evidence with names which are not disclosed, which are not going to be disclosed. She must just keep quiet and not say that I was told by so-and-so. She must not even go there because we will probe her further. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Nhlanhla.
No, Chair, I was saying I've noticed, which I think Orb Mate's noticed as well, and it continues unabated. The witness, every time a member is submitting, whatever the member is submitting, the witness is making unnecessary gestures. Can you plead with the witness to refrain from that conduct? It's not allowed. Thank you.
Okay, let's move to the DA, Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we invited Dr. de Haas here, knowing what her evidence would be, more or less. We've heard people refer to what she would talk about, and we know what her background is. We know that she's a researcher. We know that she's an anthropologist. We know that she's a sociologist, and that she has a certain protocol to which she must adhere. And she's told us about that protocol, that she has an ethical standard by which she is bound. If you're doing research as an academic, Chair, you rely on a network of, let's call them informers for want of a better word. As soon as you start naming those people publicly, you'll never have another word from them. She'll be unable to conduct her research. She'll be unable to do her job. She'll be unable to make the contribution that she's making. And it's no different to any of the other witnesses, Chair. We've had many witnesses, and all of their evidence has, well, 90% of the evidence has been hearsay. Nobody has led any evidence before this committee. No one's produced any evidence. We've had a lot of information. Any one of us who thinks that we've heard evidence is deluded. So I don't see what the fuss is about this particular witness. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Cameron. Honorable. Okay. Honorable Matthews.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We aligned with you. I think it's just important that there should be a reminder to our witness that this is Parliament. We are Parliament of the people. The difference between the Commission and this ad hoc committee, Prof, is that whatever our findings are here and also what our recommendations are, it's binding. So partly your approach to us and your response to us, I agree that it has been a touch of arrogance there that you may as well pack up and go, and also mentioning the Commission more times than is necessary, and their investigation, etc. And perhaps for the sake of progress, I think we must just get where there are no names that have been mentioned, because I might even tend to agree that it's not tremendously consequential to our investigation on the names that are not mentioned, and we might be going around in circles on something that might not be of grave consequences to the committee. So I think let's get that out of the way, and maybe our evidence leaders can work that out. But I do think it also just set a precedence, Chair, that when we have witnesses here, that they just be conscious, even when we take their statements, if there's information that they feel that is going to jeopardize other people, that it's noted in their statement, and that we have an approach rather than us coming here and then we have to deal with, I can't mention names, etc. It does make our work a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think we can move in that regard. That's our submission. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Sols.
Chair, we have indulged the witness. We've tried to be fair. You took time to explain our position. We explained that the witness would have an opportunity to share the names with us for our purposes of probing the allegations in an enclosed session. We were fair. I was very disappointed by the response of the witness thereafter. And I take strong exception to hear Dr. De Haas say that if we don't want to, she can leave. Now, it's wrong. It feels like Dr. De Haas is talking down on all of us. We are a legitimate structure. We are a legal structure. And Dr. De Haas has been invited because allegations has been made. We have granted a platform for her to have a right of reply to these allegations and clear it up. Instead of returning the courtesy, we are being spoken down on. And I also want Dr. De Haas to know that even though you were invited on this occasion, and you feel you have the option to decide whether you want to testify or not, Section 56 of our Constitution also empowers the National Assembly, and by extension, ad hoc committees like ourselves, to summons you. And when we summons you, you have no option to opt out except for two exceptions, which I'm sure you know. So please do not come across as you are looking down at us and speak with such arrogance. You can just back up and go, that I take strong exception to. And I want you to be clear that we are not some tuck shop somewhere. We are a legitimate legal institution with power. We are constitutionally empowered to do what we do. So I implore you to show the same courtesy, help us in our effort. If you refuse and you want to go, we will then use our power to summons you back here if we feel that there is information that we want to oblige you to give to us. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable James.
Yeah, I think I'm covered by the former speakers. I actually don't believe that the people that Dr. De Haas is protecting would add any value to what we're doing today. I think, if anything, we more want to know what prompted that writing of that letter and sort of trying to persuade the minister to disband the PKTT. I think, if anything, that was the focus. It makes it very hard to even prompt her further. She said what she's wanted to say. She's not going to speak. She's not going to share names. And I think the fact that she's a senior citizen today makes it very difficult for me and where I come from and my upbringing. You know, she's obviously has a made-up mind, and we're going to leave it at that. I think, if anything here today, what she has revealed is the poor leadership within our minister. Because in his testimony, one of the things, the driving factors that led him into authoring that letter was Dr. Mary de Haas. So it would have been interesting today for us to hear from her who are those people that was poking and prompting and the whys, but she's not able to tell us that. The focus today is her input towards the minister disbanding the PKTT. She's not willing to tell us, in or off camera. She's made it clear. Where do we go further? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, yeah.
Chair, we
our colleague, Advocate Sikalala, had just reminded me that we did caution in advance that calling Dr. de Haas would create this kind of problem, in inverted commas, because much of her evidence or the information that she's sharing with the committee is based on a network of information that she receives, much from third parties and other sources, and is not direct evidence. And what she has now mentioned, where she has refused to disclose the name, is just such an example. I would be inclined, like we did the other evening, to request for the informant or the person to be disclosed to us in confidence, in camera. I would request that, but I also do. One also has to have respect for her as an academic. There are certain fundamental tools of the trade, as it were, of a profession that academics use at university and other places of learning to bring knowledge to us, is sometimes based on information that they ethically cannot disclose. So I'm sympathetic to that kind of approach also, Chair. But I don't have a definitive answer other than to request that we go in camera, go into and for her to disclose the name. And I think Honourable Member Matthys is perhaps right to say, well, it could be much ado about nothing. When we hear the name, it may not add much, if anything, to our further deliberations. But we won't know that until we hear from Dr. de Haas.
Yeah.
I think also the reference to Nhlanhla is, I think we need to also bear in mind that I think what Dr. de Haas, and she can speak for herself, is that because Nhlanhla is a team of investigators, it's quite possible that they could find who the person is through their reach and their investigations, which will absolve Dr. de Haas from taking that moral responsibility of disclosing the name. We don't have that luxury, unfortunately, Chair.
I'm not taking further hands, honourable members, because I want us to break. I hear the points that honourable members are making here. The point of academic networks, there is nobody who can ignore it. It would have been very good if you say it yourself, Prof, to say, I'm a person who does research, and in this field, there are certain codes that we subscribe to. Whatever method that you use, you need to get consent. And that is why there are so many other research techniques that a person can use, because you may not want to reveal the identity of the sources. that help you in your research. But it's when we ask you to say, are you saying that even in camera, if we were going to request you to disclose the sources, you say not even in camera, and then it ends there? You would have assisted us if you say, this is the kind of the work that I do. And I have promised the networks that I consulted that this information remains confidential between us. And I may not be able to disclose it to anybody because it may put your lives in danger. Or even yourself, your life can also be in danger. That is acceptable. And we have always said it here that we are reasonable human beings. And even the application and administration of the law is done in a reasonable manner. Because the law is made to serve human beings. It's not meant to strangulate. And I think that is a fair point, but you should have said it yourself here. It must not be Honorable Breitenbach or Honorable Matthys or the SC speaking for you. It must be said by you, and we will reasonably take it. But secondly, I want to restate it here that it is our utmost intention, and this is what we want to do manifestly here as the committee, that we want to be manifestly seen outacting you as a senior citizen of this country. And that one we are unflinching about. We want to show you our utmost respect. And we also want you to feel the same warmth and comfort that you feel at your home. You must feel it here. When you have a conversation with us, you must be having a conversation with your children or with your grandchildren. You must be seen guiding them. You must be seen exposing them to the things that ordinarily they may not know in their lives. That is the kind of the atmosphere that must pervade here, and that is an atmosphere that will help us to move forward. So there must never be at any stage where you feel irritated by honorable members, where you feel offended. They are doing their work. They want to probe the allegations that have been made. And like I've said here, nobody has said it here. It was said by me as the chair that you have been a trigger that put in motion a series of events that at the ultimate was a letter that was written by the minister. And some of the words that are used in your letter are the words that were used in the letter the minister wrote to the police commissioner. You see? Not all of them. I saw one word immediately. Is one word that has featured very prominently in these hearings. It's used in the letter which you wrote in October and the letter which was written by the minister on the 31st of December. So that is why it's very, very critical, Dr. de Haas, that, and look, where I'm sitting, I'm not convinced that we have reached a stage where we will say no, or either of us will say you take it or you leave it. We haven't reached that stage. And we can't even reach that stage with a person of your quality. A senior citizen, an accomplished academic. Sitting here, we can't reach a stage where we say, look, you either take it or you leave it. We can't do those things. No. And I will emphasize it. It must never be the technicality of the statements that we make. It must never be about the techniques of our arguments. What we want to see being foregrounded here is the wisdom that makes this country to move forward. That's exactly what we want to see. So, honorable members, before we break, let me get the commitment of Dr. de Haas that when we come back, we are going to move forward and she will try her best to cooperate with the committee and give the answers to the best of her ability. Dr. de Haas.
Thank you. I just need to explain a few things, and I'm really sorry if it seemed arrogant, but the point is I thought that I'd explain my ethical position. And I mean, among other things, I mean, I am still a registered social worker. I mean, I could be, and not that it would really matter, but I mean, strictly speaking, it would be the end of a profession if I had betrayed someone's confidence, put it that way. But what I'm a bit puzzled, and I really don't take exception to any of the criticisms, I'm used to it. This is what academic conferences are about. In fact, they get even more insulting. And this is a very staid, I appreciate the comments. I'm sorry if it was seen as arrogance. It was really my irritation for not understanding that I cannot betray people's confidence. Perhaps I didn't explain it well enough. Okay, but I'm not sure what all this thing about names is, because I mean, it came up in connection with my contact now with the minister. And that is a police member whose name I could not reveal, because it would endanger, if not his life, his job. Okay. But most of what I've written here is already on record with Parliament. I'm referring to my earlier attempts 4 years ago to different committees to say there's a problem with crime intelligence. Can you get the ministers in, especially with the police? I mean, when I read this letter to the minister, I thought, well, he'll never respond. I copied it to Parliament. I never even got a formal acknowledgement from the committee. I sent it as a formal complaint. So what I'm saying is I'm delighted that Parliament is now in a state where it is actually trying to address these issues. And my reference to the Nhlanhla Commission, I see as a completely separate issue, because all I'm saying is they actually have a luxury you don't have. They've got forensic investigators. So, I mean, the issues I brought up are almost all on record. I don't know what names you're talking about. I mentioned the name of a policeman. Now, I did that. And I was just going to focus on the whole thing about the task team. I was asked, when I was asked to give evidence, I was asked to comment about my contact with the minister, which I've done fully. And that is how it came up that there was one person who gave me information I needed to pass on. And it's neither here nor there, because it's got nothing to do with that I'd written personally before, because the information I send to Parliament, I send it to the police. I send it to Parliament because the police don't respond. I am saying, this is what people are telling me.
Yeah, Prof.
Can you investigate?
Doctor,
that's my position.
Yeah, Dr. de Haas, respectfully, so let's do this. When we come back, then during the proceedings where you are required to mention your source, you can say, this one I can mention because he's a public office bearer. It's public knowledge. Number two, Chairperson, here, this information is still raw and may be a subject of investigation. I may not be able to say it because I don't know the extent to which it can jeopardize the investigations. That is fair.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yes.
If you have been informed by somebody and the information is so sensitive that you can't be excited about it, you say, look, this is a raw information. I can't be able to mention it here because it may be under investigation, or now investigations are underway as we speak. Number 3, this one is part of my field of research. This is where the information was drawn. And I have made a commitment to the participants in my research that this stays confidential. I think everybody knows it. That, like I explained, that you can use different assembly methods in a research, or you can identify your participants. But you can't go out. Like now, if somebody does a research about the PKTT, it's a very, very sensitive terrain. And then you go there, you meet people, they give you information, you come and produce a document. But you can't mention where you got those things because it's unethical, it's unprofessional within the academic circles. So we will want you to say those things where you feel you have comfort to give us the names, and here I'm uncomfortable. I may not give us those names for the following. You know, I think how the members understood it is when you just say it bluntly without any explanation or substantiation to say the reason why, even if we go in camera, I can't give you the information is for the following reasons. You get it? I mean, if I have to remind you, at some point you even said, I can exercise my right to silence. And for sure, I assume that is what could have offended the members. You could, look, at your age, you could have gathered some euphemism to say it in such a way that your juniors, they keep on following you without any qualms. Is it very clear? Is it clear to you?
Even so.
Did you hear me?
I didn't hear the last sentence you said.
Yeah, no, I'm saying at your age,
Yeah.
you could always find better ways. You know, older persons in society, they always have this delicate ways to process fragile and sensitive matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you do that?
Well, my problem is that I'm still very much in academic circles and I haven't really changed very much over the ages. So maybe that's the problem I'm having. But I mean, I do want to distinguish, though, between what I think Parliament can do, and I'm very happy it's doing. And I really want to emphasize, I was not going to give evidence about intelligence because it is all allegations. I have personally spoken to operatives, so some of it is firsthand to me.
Yeah.
But everything else is on record.
Yeah, no, but to conclude on this point before we break, you and I are now making a commitment in these proceedings that when we come back, we are going to see the delicate ways that you use to process fragile and sensitive matters. That is the commitment we are getting from you. Thank you so much.
So where I put it, I guess.
Yeah. Honorable members, it's almost 14 hours now. May we please break and come back at 15 hours. It's almost 14 hours now. You'll come back at 15 hours. No, 15 hours. I want you to refresh. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I really thought I'd explained it by explaining it.
You see, you, SC, are we back? Are we back, SC?
Yes, Chair.
Prof, Doctor. Dr. De Haas. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay. Yeah. Your seat is here. Your seat is here, Chief Whip. That's where your seat is.
How much?
No, there is no problem if you want to sit at the back. Yeah. Because Chief Whip, as the Chief Whip of the majority party in Parliament, as the Chief Whip of the majority party in Parliament, when you go to any committee meeting, you remain the Chief Whip. Yeah. There is at no stage that you are not the Chief Whip. Yeah. I want us to proceed. Yeah, I'm handing over back to you.
Jay, are you still busy with Dr. De Haas on the last issue?
No, we're done on that issue. She made a commitment that when we come back from the break,
lunch. Yeah,
we can tap from her wisdom, and I see you also want to compliment her.
You asking her?
I have asked her, and she committed that we are going to tap from her wisdom. So now, were you done with your questions, or you still want to lead evidence?
Me,
No, I mean the SC.
Yeah, the advocate.
Apart from the other issue that we had about naming
the witnesses,
the witness, I did have a few more questions.
You still had few questions?
Yes, Chair.
How long does it take you to conclude those questions?
Well, it always depends also on the witness, but it shouldn't be longer than 20 minutes, half an hour.
Okay. Do you hear what the SC is saying, honorable members? The SC says in round about 20 minutes, he may be concluding leading evidence. So I want to request you to start reading yourself, because once he concludes, we may not have time to break. So if you can start preparing yourself so that once we reach that stage, you are ready to ask questions. SC, you will tell me when you are done. And I'm going to request members not to interrupt the SC because it's only 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you. I'm not going to take any point of clarity between now and the conclusion of evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. May I proceed, Honourable Chair? Thank you, Honourable Members. Just perhaps, Dr. De Haas, just to recap, the reasons that you mentioned in your statement why the PKTT should be disestablished, and in fact you say should have been disestablished a while ago. you refer to at 17.1, where of your statement on page 11, it was completely unnecessary to establish the PKTT as our KZN provincial team had already made important breakthroughs in high-profile political cases. At 17.2, you refer to the structure of the PKTT, which you say is completely irregular. I make this point as I've been working with task teams which have always been set up with clear structures of command and oversight and of limited duration. At 17.3 on page 13, nor is there any good reason whatsoever for a team of detectives to focus on you put political killings in inverted commas. And this is, I asked you this earlier, they have never defined what exactly they mean by this term. And they are known to have taken dockets for which they have no mandate, such as those involving cases of alleged fraud and or gross municipal corruption, which is the mandate of the Hawks, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, as per the SAPS Act. Lastly, it's the costs is prohibitive. And those reasons...
Only to say that I hadn't even... I skimmed through Minister Mkhwanazi's affidavit. I skimmed through and I was particularly interested in the appendixes, the annexures, which actually have breakdowns of where they claim their successes. That was my main focus thus far. I haven't finished with it yet, but that's as far as I got. So when I put this together, it was entirely my own experience gave rise to these reasons. Particularly, I mean, one of the may or may not have got into an annexure is the stunning successes of our provincial team dealing with the carnage in Glebeland's hostel, which carried on because there's been other massacres since. So, and the fact that a lot of what they claim, I know they claim as successes, were actually on virtually the evidence that was ready for prosecution was done by the provincial members who'd been, even as clearly admits, seconded to the team. That's the main thing. So, and the prohibitive expense. I mean, quite apart from all the systemic abuses, because, I mean, it's true that the police do that a lot, but this is almost a modus operandi for them, this illegal seizure of phones and no regard. So, yeah, I can confirm all that as my own deductions. Yeah.
Okay. Then just moving on to the prosecutor's name that you mentioned throughout, Kaba.
Yes.
You've also lodged complaints about Advocate Kaba to the National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Indeed, because lots of people, including in statements and affidavits I was sent from Gauteng about a case he's dealing with there, the Crusher case in particular. But there's a lot of affidavits there. I've spoken to 2 senior police members who say, well, he was going to be under investigation. One, I'll quote the words because you're wanting names. No, I can't quote the names of the policemen. May I explain that when I don't quote names, it's only for those reasons that, especially, I may open them up to adverse actions, as in the form of losing a job or losing their lives. And most of them are the policemen. The people whose names I don't give you are police members. So I'd just like to make that clear on record. They told me this, and they claimed that Kaba was advised to leave Gauteng, where the spotlight was getting to be on him, and come to this province. What we do know is that when he got here, despite these allegations, he was promoted to senior public prosecutor by Mrs. Harrison. I won't go into the problems I've had with Mrs. Harrison before. So what I did last year, another policeman told me that Mr. Kaba's got very powerful protection. He said, I'm trying to investigate him, but I can't let on because someone will sabotage it. These are policemen. I want to again explain, as the Honourable Chair asked me to do, that the only reason I'm not doing this is that I could not betray their trust in me. They tell me because I know that they would suffer adverse consequences if they did. That's the only reason. And I think it's policemen because, again, I mean, when the conversation came up, and please understand, I don't mind what you say about me, and I don't mind the challenges you throw out. I'm sorry if I seemed arrogant about it, but I think I was just kind of saying, no, I just can't carry on if I have to reveal names that I've given my word not to remain. Anyway, but I appreciate the work you're doing. And I also want to say, I believe that you can do some things as Parliament, especially when all the stuff's on record and you could call for an audit, for example. You can do things that you don't have those resources and investigative capacity. That's the only reason I brought the Commission into it, because you don't want to put stuff on record so that they can cover up before anyone in the Commission gets to investigate it. Okay. And mainly police people. So I wrote, when it was clear that one complaint after the other was coming to me from Kaba, and I must mention here there's an affidavit which may or may not be there, but it's become quite a famous affidavit in the media. It is the man who pulled the trigger on Sindiso Magaka. He's called Nhlanhla. And Nhlanhla was one of the original arrests, and the original investigations was done by the provincial team. Nhlanhla, in his affidavit, says the prosecutor who took the case initially agreed that he could be a state witness. But that prosecutor, who I know to be a good prosecutor in the provincial office, was withdrawn, and Mr. Kaba came in and he stopped it. The hitman, Nhlanhla, has been chomping at the bits to make a confession for the last 5 years, I think, 6 years. And a little group of people put some money together for him to get an advocate to help him, because nobody was helping him, not his lawyers, not the prosecutor. And that is the confession is the result of that, where it specifically names Kaba as obstructing justice when he wanted to confess, right? And somebody else has made an affidavit. Mr. Pillay has made an affidavit that I should have attached there also to say, and he had witnesses, because they were in the office when this happened, of one of the prosecutors that Kaba was trying to get him to force his state. Okay, I've been getting all this since late last year. I wrote to the National Director of Public Prosecutions, which I've done with other cases, to contest. And I said, can you please send in an independent senior prosecutor or other advocate just to check all those dockets? These are the allegations. I started off very politely. I said, this is not fair on Mr. Kaba that he gets all these allegations. He should be able to clear his name if it can be cleared. And if not, we should know. Okay. I just got the replies back all the time. First reply was, Mrs. Harrison will check. I said, but Mrs. Harrison is the very person who appointed him to senior public prosecutor. How can we call her independent? I'm asking you to bring in somebody senior from another province. To this day, they won't do it. So that's that story. But I think in some of these cases, there's going to be a lot of corroborating evidence coming out when the cases finally get to court. But as I've said to you, tracing these cases out, there's a kind of what they call the Stalingrad option of deliberately delaying hearings. Oh, well, sorry, I'm not available. Another 6 months goes by. Okay. And in one case where Mr. Kaba's said this prosecutor has got to suddenly not use those 3 days, there's a High Court judge in Pietermaritzburg called Judge Singh. She actually needs Mr. Shange. Mr. Shange is his deputy that he takes instructions from. I checked the whole High Court rolls on the Pietermaritzburg High Court. There is no case set down for 3 days. There's a Singh here and a Singh there, but no Singh running a case for 3 days. So it seemed to me that that was not quite honest. Okay.
I think I asked you this morning when we consulted, why haven't you lodged a complaint with IDEC?
Well, I actually didn't know that I could. Thank you for telling me.
Well, it sounds like corruption to me.
Yeah, no, that's what you
defeating the ends of justice, withdrawing cases, enrolling cases, withdrawing them, and you also say lying, because now you just look at a court roll and you see there's no judge.
No, there's at least one free day of those 3 days where no judge or Singh is presiding, according to the court roll. So, I mean, no, I will do that. And it's a very helpful suggestion because I'm actually...
Don't mention my name.
No. No, I'll say it came up in the commission and I was told that I could approach, in the ad hoc. But I will definitely do that because I
Okay, then I just wanted to, your interactions, I think we've already heard from you about Minister Mkhwanazi, and then just the remaining two, Advocate Bakoli and Mr. Kabinde.
Yeah.
You deal with Kabinde at paragraph 27.
Yeah. I can answer that quite quickly. I mean, and there's no sort of unknown sources here. This is what I experienced personally. Mr. Kabinde, I know he was at IPID, and I don't think I dealt with him there, but I couldn't be sure because I did do quite a bit of interaction with IPID head office, but I don't remember dealing with... I remember the reports about him falling out with McBride, but that was about as much as I could remember about him. And then what happened was that after Minister Mkhwanazi was suspended and there was a new minister... I didn't know who to send my complaints to because I do have to write a complaint about the state of policing in the province. And I asked Patricia, I'm in almost daily interaction with Patricia almost. We deal with a lot of stuff together. And Patricia Mashali, Mrs. Mashali. And she said, oh, look, Ngabindi is the head of the office there, try him. And I did, and I sent him a couple of things. And I got a response to say that there would be a new person who hadn't quite started. And she is, I think, she's an... What did I say she was called? I think she's a General Pino. Yeah. So, I mean, she's quite efficient. I sent to her and she acknowledges and says it's been sent on. That's how I dealt. Then I phoned Ngabindi after the police, and it seems that our police were paid to go up there and do all these actions against... we have no money for a lot of resources at the moment in KZN. And our police were there operating... going into Ngabindi's home, beating his brother allegedly. So I just phoned to ask if he'd opened a case about his brother, and he said he had, and I think he said there wasn't a warrant. I didn't deal with him after that.
And just on Patricia Mashale, also raised it with you this morning, that Minister Mkhwanazi had also referred a number of complaints, a whole bundle of complaints to the IGI, but had received a report back to say that I think it's between 70 to 80% of those complaints had no substance.
I must confess.
I'm just asking you the extent to which you do rely or have relied also on Patricia Mashale's network.
No, thank you. Yeah. A lot of the information she's given him, I followed up independently. Okay. And I think the problem, because she was adamant she'd given proof of what she'd said, and she records also for other corruption reported to her by her former husband. And that was why they'd seized her phone and they wanted this and that and the other. But on the whole, I mean, all I relied on her with this was to say, well, who can I contact there? And she knew who to contact. And I realized I actually facilitated this. Suddenly, in answer to the question there, and did too, former husband, can we trust this person? I said, well, I don't know. I think you can. I don't know. And then when you must remember also, of course, that there was no Inspector General of Intelligence until I think last year. There was a hiatus between the resignation of Dr. Dindwe or the end of term of Dr. Dindwe. So I'd been interacting with an advocate in the office, not the head of the office. Then in come the new head, and I got a message to say all directives, all my queries must go to his PA. In other words, not to keep sending it to the advocate. So we're not absolutely sure whether or not the information was accurate. But normally I've checked out her stuff and verified it with people that she's reported, and I've spoken to them directly.
Then you also mentioned advocate. You said you met him once.
Once. I only met him once. I knew he was the legal advisor for the minister. I think I'd heard that along the way somewhere.